Hi, this is attorney Nicole Christie from the Christie Law Firm, where we work hard to make families stronger. And today I want to talk to you about DCF and juvenile court. A question that I get often is, why am I being charged with neglect? And what I want to clarify is, whenever DCF files neglect petitions, they have to name the mother, the father, and any legal guardian to the child. And the reason is because mothers and fathers and guardians have rights. And if those rights are going to be interfered with, they at least need to be given notice. So it's a part of your due process to be notified that DCF has filed a petition that impacts your rights to your child. And so it's important to understand that there's case law that says the family integrity, the family, being together, parents being able to raise their children is a fundamental right. And if DCF is going to interfere with that right, they need to get a court order to do so. And so that is why mothers and fathers and guardians are listed as individuals on the neglect petitions. And so it's not necessarily that you've been charged with a crime like you would, again, burglary or larceny, but you are legal guardians, and as legal guardians and parents, your rights are now could be altered due to a decision made by the juvenile court. So you need to be given notice. And that is why you're served those neglect petitions by a marshal. And when you go into court, the very first court date, the court needs to make a finding that you are actually served, that someone gave you the papers, that you are on notice as to what is taking place with your child. So it's very important to understand the difference between what happens in criminal court and juvenile court, that you're not necessarily charged with a crime, but that there are allegations that the child has been neglected or uncared for or abused, and as a parent you have a right to be able to deal with that and to be able to answer that, to either refute it, to defend against that, or to admit to it. So those are some different options. One of the other things that I want to leave you with is when DCF files neglect petitions, it's not like criminal court or even family court, which is open. Sometimes you can go onto the judicial website and you can look up what person has been charged with. If someone says, yeah, I just caught a case and I've got some charges, and they won't tell you what it is, you can literally go online and figure out what all the charges are. Family cases, sometimes you can see, well, you might not be able to get to all of the information. You can find out that things have been filed, what types of motions have been filed. Also in civil court, so if someone has a lawsuit against someone, you can find out some details about the lawsuit. So those things are public knowledge. The only thing that you can't have access to is a juvenile court case. The only way that you have access to that information is as a mom or dad or the attorney for those parties, or you're a guardian and the court has allowed you access as well. And so you don't have to worry about anyone finding out neglect petitions have been filed against you unless you say something to someone. At times, the only exception is perhaps in family court. They will want to know if there are any other court proceedings, and so you'll have to let the family court know. If you are trying to file something in probate court, you'll have to let the probate court know, because juvenile court to some extent will trump other courts if they have an active case. And what I mean by that is the other courts are going to want to know what DCF is doing or what the juvenile court is doing around the guardianship and custody of the child before any other court wants to make a decision. And so especially in family court, so if mom, for example, has filed for sole custody of a child or children, and DCF has filed neglect petitions, the family court typically will wait until the disposition of those cases or that case in juvenile court before it makes a decision around sole custody or joint custody. So it's something to keep in mind whenever you're dealing with multiple courts, that if it has anything to do with juvenile court, every other court is going to wait until juvenile court makes a decision. And so in other videos, we'll talk about the juvenile court process itself. But what I wanted to make clear today is that it's not like a charge as in a criminal matter, but it is allegations, and it's allegations of abuse and neglect that the court has to find. They don't necessarily have to find who did it and why, and make a finding that mom was the one that neglected the child or dad was the one that neglected the child, but that the child was simply neglected. and then they have to make a decision as to what should happen as a result of finding that the child has been neglected. So it's a nuance in the law, but it's very important for you to understand so that when you get these neglect petitions, you don't necessarily feel like you've been cited as, quote, a bad parent, but it's because you have rights and the court can't do things about your child without notifying you and giving you an opportunity to have a say-so. And so if you ever need any assistance, please don't hesitate to call our office or notify us. We also have a website. You can check out more information there. And we also have a string of videos here on our YouTube channel. So it's another great way to learn more about DCF. So when you're dealing with them, you have some knowledge and you don't have to feel like, wait, they know everything and I don't. All right, take care until our next time.